Hey, hi, hello, ASL Season 1 Wi-Fi Draft Analysis. So, back on the YouTube, um, gonna be recapping some ASL Season 1 Wi-Fi Draft. Um, you know what, branched out from Showdown, going to Wi-Fi now for ASL. So, as you can see here, we got the draft order highlighted down here. We are not the Portland Timbers. We are the Miami Dolphinions. Sixth in the draft. There's a couple things that I wanted, and luckily, what I really wanted for this draft did fall to us. So, without further ado, let's get into it with the first pick of this season. I went ahead and made the pick of Iron Valiant. So, see on the right what already went for Iron Valiant, but really wanted to use Iron Valiant on Wi-Fi. It's just a great breaker. Actually does get booster energy in this league, which is awesome. No Terra, however, but still, Valiant is a phenomenal offensive mon. It's part of a 3-core mon that I was really looking forward to, but Valiant's going to just be this offensive monster. And you know, it's a great typing, great coverage, great speed, great all of that. And with it, I wanted to try a new mon here, and a lot of other forms of it went, and that mon is Ogre Pon. So in the second round, this is part of a 3-mon core that I was really interested in going after, as you can see on the right. Ogre Pon Wellspring went, and Ogre Pon Hearthflame went. I didn't really want the teal one. I really want one with a mask, so we can just spam Ivy Cudgel, because base 100 rock move Ivy Cudgel is just going to decimate things, which I really appreciate that idea. Ogre Pon is just a mon that needed to be tried, to be honest. 14 points, pretty good. Obviously, in this format, you get 3 high tier mons, 3 low tier mons, and then 5 mid tier, and it does count for mid tier as in that 14 to 6 range. Ogre Pon just fantastic, has some ideas like Swords Dance, Sturdy, but for the main part, this is just ways to pivot into Valiant. There's ways to open up the end game for Valiant. It's good against the flying types that Valiant doesn't necessarily like, and just in general, this is my favorite Ogre Pon form. It's the best one. It's just objectively true. So going into round 3, I was really looking at Iron Treads in this case. It was between Iron Treads and the mon that I actually went with, but I figured this mon also fits way too well with Iron Valiant. And is a mon that I very much enjoy how it plays. And in round 3, we went ahead and scooped up Tornadus Therian, which is actually going to be one of our Terra captains. So in this league, you get a Terra Stab and you get a non-Terra Stab. So we're going to be flying in ground. I had a bit of an issue figuring out what Terra to use. Had ideas of electric, had ideas of poison, but ultimately ended on ground. Flying ground is just a phenomenal stab bonus, or stab typing, and you know, maybe we can block a volt switch and get a kill. Who knows when you'll ever need that turn. Most of the time probably just gonna be Terra Flying, just because Terra Flying is awesome, but Tornadus obviously gets way better. This generation gets Bleak Wind, so you don't have to risk hurricanes. You get a little bit more accurate of a move, but just being a facilitator is really what Tornadus Therian does the best. It doesn't have defog in this context, which is going to be true about almost everything I draft, unfortunately. But Tornadus Therian is just so good with Valiant, just able to pivot around and get Valiant into the game. The mon just hits so hard, and obviously now with that Terra Ground, we can take out some poison types potentially for Valiant, because Valiant doesn't love dealing with poison types. But I knew I really wanted Tornadus, and like I said, I wanted Treads, but Treads went like 2 picks after this. Yeah, it hasn't been picked yet. It goes like a couple picks after this, so that plan is kind of out the window. And I had to completely shift my plan, and I'm going to save my high tier for later. but it's a banger. So we go into round 4, and this is something that I had to get. I really wanted to get because it gets really buffed for DLC as it comes back. But that mon is Empoleon. So Empoleon for 12 points might seem a little high, but then you realize this thing got Flip Turn, this thing got Roost, this thing has a useful ability now. A useful hidden ability, that is. And it doesn't get Defog, which is pretty unfortunate, but still a rocker, so that's an important thing. And I needed the steel type. There wasn't any other steel type that I really liked out of anything else, just because I knew other stuff that I was getting, and Empoleon just had to be it. I knew I had to pick Empoleon here. Empoleon is awesome though. Like I said, the fact that they gave this thing Roost is so crucial for its ability to stay up. I really want to try this thing now. Again, it's a rocker, it's not a defogger. Neither is Tornadus, unfortunately. But we'll get there when we get there. Empoleon is just a phenomenal mon. It's especially bulky, you can have some physical bulk, and it's just an insane typing. So then going into round 5, what did I get in round 5? Oh yeah. So we're gonna complete the 3 mon core here that I originally sought out for, which is Iron Valiant, Ogre Pon, and Gengar. So I really wanted to use Gengar. I don't think I've ever used Gengar properly. Might have used it once or twice, but not like to any like real extent. But Gengar here for 14 points. I think Gengar is really awesome in this case. It allows Valiant to be more of like a mid-game breaker, and then Gengar can just be this. It's so good as a scarf cleaner. But this is part of the 3-mon core that I wanted. Iron Valiant, Ogre Pon, and Gengar. Gengar works so well with Valiant because Valiant doesn't love to deal with fairy types, it doesn't love to deal with psychic types. Gengar obviously shreds them, and then Gengar doesn't love dealing with like steel types and whatnot. But Valiant can obviously pick them apart with close combat. But Gengar is just a great mon. I didn't make it a Terra Captain close to, but I picked Tornadus instead just because Terra Flying is just kind of stupid not to have. But Gengar, great late game cleaner. Can do a lot in the early game too. Great coverage, and you're going to see how fast this team is. I mean, we have Valiant at 116, Torn at 121, Ogre Pon at 110, and Gengar at 110. But I'm glad I got the core that I was originally looking for when doing this. So that's a good thing. But then in the next pick, I wanted to get another Terra Captain, and this mon probably should not be in this point tier, just because as a Terra Captain it shoots way above 6 points. But you know what? We need all the base 110 speeds in the world, so went ahead and got Espeon. Espeon is going to be Terra Psychic and Terra Fairy. Terra Fairy, this mon is just so bulky. But at 6 points, this mon is kind of a no-brainer. Needed a Psychic type because, like I said, Valiant does not love dealing with poison types, and currently, you'll see I get better at that down the line. But this is just another way to help kill poison types, because honestly, Gengar doesn't really like dealing with poison types either. But Espeon's just a great mon. It's got good enough coverage, it's got cleric abilities, magic bounce is actually really important here because I still don't have removal at this point. And that top tier mon is not removal either. So I'm gonna have to get lower tier removal, and just having magic bounce is a way to deter, which is really nice. So I think Espeon here for 6 points was kind of a steal, which is why I went for it at this point. And then from here, I needed another one of my Terra Captains, and one that is arguably more crucial than Espeon, and that is Avalugg. So we're going to go Ice Water Avalugg, just because Water Avalugg basically blanket checks almost every physical wall in like existence. It's insane. It is a Shenpao answer, I'll say it. Everyone knows it. It's a Shenpao answer. Like, comfortably a Shenpao answer. The thing gets recover. You could just rock boots on it. but once you Terra, you're not weak to rocks anyways. So you could run like Helmet or something. But at 3 points, this mon is awesome. Obviously a Rapid Spinner, my first true removal. I knew going into this. I also originally had Ursaring as a low tier, but I knew I had to get some value out of these low tiers, and Avalo is value. Like I said, this mon is so good at just blanket checking so many physical walls, and it gives me removal, gives me recover, and it's a mon that I could actually bring a lot for being a low tier. So I think that was important. And then going into round 8, yeah, so I wanted to get Goodra. I wanted to get Goodra here, but I got sniped on the wheel, unfortunately. I really wanted Goodra. Goodra would have given me another big wall to put with Empoleon, Espeon, Avalugg, Tornti. Tornti's not a wall, but it's a pivot, but didn't get Goodra. Got sniped. Had to go with the next best thing. But if I got Goodra, I would have had to take 2 1-pointers towards the bottom. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but we went ahead and we grabbed Altaria. It must not have been loaded, but we grabbed Altaria. Altaria does get defog, actually, which is really nice. But for 4 points, I think Altaria is pretty good. I mean, it's got good bit of coverage. You know, we can run Dragon Dance set if we're really feeling it. Yeah, it's good coverage. It's defog. I believe it gets Heal Bell, so it can Cleric. Mega Altaria would run Heal Bell, so this thing should get Heal Bell. Unless they removed it for whatever reason. But yeah, I think Altaria, for what was there, I think the only other like plausible Goodra backup was Tatsugiri. But I really wasn't feeling it. Altaria is a little bit bulkier than Tatsugiri just overall. So I'm fairly happy with Altaria. Again, it gives me another hazard option, and again, the big thing about this is I can also get a better mon for the next pick. Otherwise, I was gonna have to pick like Pikachu or something, which Pikachu has its use because it can hit hard, but that's like really rough. That's really rough. So with the next pick, I was really torn between an electric or a fire, and I ultimately determined pivoting is really important for this team, especially with what my last pick is going to be, and it's been guaranteed for a couple rounds at this point. So with that in mind, I went Electrode Hisui, and it's not Terra, because if I go Torn and Avalugg, because I know I have to have Avalugg, if I go Torn and Avalugg, I can't afford it, because you can only add up to 25 Terra points, which that would be 26. So that was my main rationale here. I don't know, I might change Torn to Gengar and then Espeon to Electrode Hisui if I'm not feeling Tornadus Therian or Espeon. So that's something that we could do in the future, but Electrode Hisui is just awesome. Again, this team is just loaded with speed. This team is loaded with speed, but it gives me a grass type that actually has access to Leech Seed, which I really value, because obviously Ogre Pon does, or no, I think Ogre Pon does have Leech Seed. I honestly don't know. I actually think it does now that I say that, but either way, it gives me a Volt Switcher to really complete this Tornadus. Tornadus has U-turn, Ogre Pon has U-turn, Empoleon has Flip Turn, Espeon has Baton Pass, Electrode Hisui has Volt Switch. Like, there's a lot of pivoting going on, which is really, really nice. And just Electrode Hisui is just a great mon. And if I end up Terra typing it, it's a great Terramon, but even then, I think it's still phenomenal. It can hit really hard because you can just go modest all the time because you're so fast. Yeah, good luck outspeeding my team. My team is very fast. I guess that's pretty thematic with my team name. But in round 10, we got to take a 1-pointer, and I wanted a fire type, and I think I took the best available in Monferno. Carcoal was ironically taking the pick before, which I was debating between Carcoal and Monferno. I was at least leaning Monferno, because Carcoal kind of overlaps with like Avalugg, where it's like, I don't think I'd ever bring Carcoal and Avalugg. I think I'd rather just bring Avalugg. So I never really, and I don't I don't love playing Hazard Stack style, so Inferno's fine. Base 80 in each attack, base 81 speed. It gets knockoff this generation, like Infernape does. So, you know, I mean, it's something. It's not bad. Yeah, and like I said, I just needed a fire type, another way to kill steals, because right now my only way is Valiant, which that's gonna change in a second. But yeah, I think Infernape was just the best available, and I think I'm okay with that. So going into round 11, you can clearly see here that the big typing I do not have is a ground type, and yeah, you know what? This maybe makes my team a little bit top heavy, but I don't really care. We went with the big bad bear, Ursal Luna. So Ursal Luna couldn't be sniped from like pick 5, or not pick 5, round 5, which is why I was able to do this. 16 points for Ursal Luna, maxes out our points, but Ursal Luna, oh my god, Ursal Luna is a monster. I think it's fallen off a little bit. I think when it first came out, it was like seen as this like premier threat, where I haven't really seen it just like win a game, but oh my god, it's gonna nuke something before it dies. And I like the bulk profile from Ursal Luna here, because again, my team isn't the bulkiest, but Ursal Luna has a lot of options like Assault Vest, Bulletproof gives it some immunities, can just be bulky with lefties. It's got really high HP and defense. It's just bulky offense that I think was really, really lacking on my team. Because like Ogre Pon isn't really bulky offense, Gengar's not bulky offense, Valiant isn't bulky offense. Ursal Luna is bulky offense, and it works so well with Tornadus Therian. I just really wanted to try this thing. I really did. Blood Moon got picked first round, I think. No, it must have been like second or third round. But yeah, Blood Moon went way earlier. I wasn't really looking at Blood Moon because I kind of needed a physical attacker in this spot, because my only other like dedicated physical attacker is like Ogre Pon. Like Valiant's gonna be physical some of the time, but Tornadus hell could even be with like Acro. But I think Ursal Luna is just a phenomenal mon. It hits so hard, and I was really excited to get Ursal Luna, especially be able to wait on it for this long. As you can see, a lot of other people waited pretty long. You know, Enamorus over there, Urshi Rapid, Infernape, all that stuff. So that is going to be the team for the ASL Season 1 Wi-Fi. 7 weeks plus playoffs. Just going to do a slower start, since in ASL we've never done Wi-Fi before, so it's going to be a shorter season. Probably kick up to 9 in the future, and then revise stuff as we see fit. But yeah, that'll be uploads every week, not set day, just upload the game after it's played. But this is the roster. Hopefully can make playoffs. And I mean, I think it's a good roster. I think it's a really good roster. Like I said, I think there's some flaws on it, but for the most part, considering what we're working with, I feel like this is a extremely fun team, albeit very top heavy. But yeah, that's the Season 1 Miami Dolphinions draft, and sure battles will start next week and we can get those uploaded. Thank you, and hopefully it's a good season.